I'm going to assume that space either does one of two things. It either makes you super horny or angry.
There's no in between.
There's no in between.
Also, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Oh man, I was so bright. Yes, this is the last one, which is Zulu saying Salu Bona. I am so bright.
I am now too, because I opened up something on Google.
Not as bright as me. Zulu is. I'm on Wikipedia page I didn't open. Is from an ethnic group from South Africa, or the New Guinea. New Guinea. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So, yeah, and it's a sad day, everyone, that I can now, after 100 and some episodes, close that tab and not have to open it ever again.
So many episodes. We have so many episodes.
It was over a year.
It's very impressive. Sorry, everybody, for the yawn. This is a nighttime recording because my life got flipped upside down. Insert Fresh Prince of Bel-Air lyrics.
She didn't move to Bel Air, though.
I did not.
Maybe next time.
If you're watching the video version, if my eyes look puffy, yes. No, I'll be okay. I'll be fine.
And if you have anything to say against it, well, I'll punch you in the schnoz or the nostrils.
Schnostrils.
Yeah, the schnostrils. I was poking around Zoom because for people who don't know, we record this on Zoom, and I remember mentioning, like, man, it's a bummer that this thing doesn't split the audio like I thought it would. Well, it turns out if I clicked all the things that showed up in that file, it does split the audio. It is not that big of a deal for this show. Mm-hmm. But another show that's out. Another show that I work on needs the audio split. And so...
And now you know.
Yeah, so now it's there. And then I was looking up, how can I get better Zoom quality? Do you want to know some, like, video quality? Because that was something else we talked about.
Yeah.
Would you like to know, in my very brief search, what was brought up?
Was it get a better camera?
That was one. There was like, yeah, I realized my video quality really bumped up when I used my cell phone as my video camera. Or, yeah, so I just had the spare mirrorless DCL camera sitting around. Actually, I think I do have one over there, but that's besides the point. And so it's like, yeah, just one of them, you know. And then the other one, which was like my favorite, is like, well, if you click in HD in the settings.
Oh my goodness.
However, the one thing I did find, and because right now we're in 720, like that's the max that we can do. Mm-hmm. If we upgraded my Zoom plan, I don't know why I said we, because I would still be the one paying for it. If I upgraded my Zoom plan to a business plan, then I could talk with them and potentially get 1080p resolution video call.
How much does that cost?
I don't know. I didn't look that up. Zoom. That's not how you spell Zoom.
Don't mind us talking technical things. This is also our way of saying, hey, listeners, if you know secrets about Zoom, please tell us at twitter.com/pointlessdisco, because we use Zoom mainly to record for YouTube and things like that.
This confuses me. Why is there like, what do we use? Because there's Zoom 1, and then there's Zoom Phone, and then there's Zoom Events and Webinars. Oh, Zoom Rooms, that's what we use. Well, we're going to keep the... Oh, wait, that's business. Still. That's for a year. that being said, we're gonna stick with the plan I pay now because it goes well into the hundreds, if not more.
That rate, we would be talking about the other services we looked into.
Yeah. But that's like for a whole year.
Okay.
So, trying to think, is there anything else I want to complain about that helps us get this podcast all together? I could complain about Anchor for the other podcast, but it's not really an Anchor problem. It's an iTunes problem. Yeah. I have to go talk to customer service again.
Always a joy.
Yeah, I went and talked with them last weekend, and then they're like, this is not our thing, but if you go here, you'll be able to talk with them, and they'll be able to find out your problem. And I go there, and I'm like, oh, well, I can't talk to them because I can't log in. So, yeah. It's like, it makes me just want to throw away the whole audio side of that program. But let's talk about cool things, awesome things.
Aliens.
This is our, yeah.
Well, yeah, there are multiple aliens in this, but not
multiple aliens.
Not Aliens, the movie. Human.
Xenomorphs.
Xenomorphs. Humamorphs.
I don't know. If I scroll through this Wikipedia page, I'm pretty sure it will tell me the classification of said
creature.
Xenomorphs.
But yes, we watched Alien Resurrection to wrap up our entire series of watching Predator into Alien Universe movies.
Mm-hmm. I did want to say before we jumped into it was that next week will be Halloween for when that episode drops. And so what we were going to do is we have a really fun next thing for like November. Do we want to mention what we're doing in November? Give them like a sneak peek for like 2 weeks, or do we want to say that for next week?
We can. Apologies.
Oh no, she's dying. No.
I say we should sprinkle hints. So this week I'll give a hint, and then next week you can give a hint in the beginning of the episode for next week, and then at the end of the episode we'll tell them. But my hint for this week, I had an idea and I lost. Oh, scales. Lots of scales.
That's right. We're gonna be doing judge.
No, wait, no.
jury.
I'm mixing it up with another series we talked about. A different series has lots of scales. I meant to say lots of.
We talk about a lot of things.
Yes. Sorry. The better thing I meant to say was lots of teeth.
That it could also be said about this Alien series. But yeah. So there's your hint. If anyone guesses it, one, I will say, why are you listening to our unedited conversations? Not that we say anything terrible, but there's a lot of stuff that does get talked about between memes and other things. But next week we are going to be taking all 11. Was it 11 movies?
Was it 11? Was it 13?
13 sounds like a number we said multiple times. I saw your office light up, and so you will correct me in a second.
Once I get to our spreadsheet.
Yes. We are going to be taking all the movies from Predator 1 to Alien Resurrection that we watched since August. And we're going to rank them. Which, if you guys have listened to episodes in the past, we've done that before. But the big thing that we're going to be doing for this one is that we have to agree, which I have a feeling the top and bottom of this list have been, I think, are safe.
Yeah, I think it's 13 movies.
Yeah, I think once we kind of get past like the top 3 and bottom 3 is when potential conversation and debate will be happening. So the big thing is, do we want to go from the top up or the bottom down? That's not how that list work. Do we want to go top down or bottom up? But anyway, so there's that. I thought there was one other thing I wanted to mention before we jumped into the episode. Oh, yes. I don't know if we mentioned it, but for people who are watch this on Spotify. We took down the Spotify video option, mainly due to the fact that it just didn't seem like that was much of an interest on Spotify. We still have the YouTube. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, we've been seeing what looks like actual people checking it out, and not just like, wait a second, this is not the actual movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't do a thumbnail this week.
Yeah, but
Silly
you were good. Like, I will not hold that against you. And if anyone else does, punch you in the schnoz, the schnostril. But yeah, so, but anyway, all that to say is that I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, we just took down the video option, and now it's just audio up on Spotify, which it looks like that is doing kind of is reverting back to how it was before we started doing video on Spotify.
I'm gonna show you something that I just saw for our Aliens movie, since you mentioned analytics a bit. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it took me a second. I was like, 1986. Oh yeah, that's when the first one happened. Yeah, we have real people looking for things that we actually potentially talked about.
Yeah, we had one that had like, for us, we're babies when it comes to most platforms.
Well, we have experience, but just not the. We're niche. We also change what we do way too often. But I'll blame myself for that because I have a short attention span. But yes, no, but yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like I'm now remembering like all those like streamer videos are like advice like, don't call yourself a small streamer. You're a streamer, dang it. And I'm like, no, it's I know numerically I am on the like top 12 to 10% of 6% I think it is, which you're like, wow, that sounds cool. And it's like, no, that's like if you have above 3 viewers, you're in the top 10%. So man, no, we're still learning about podcasting and all that stuff, and yeah, we keep hoping to make a better product and
better experience for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, feel free to yell at us wherever you can find us to tell us your thumbnail could be better, or
you want to complain about the thumbnail.
React.
I will find you.
React more. Have goofy faces.
Yeah.
Thumbnail. Oh, what?
I dropped a die. Okay. Hold on. We need more reactions. Hold on. I know I can do this. Oh, there's a button on here called hand. It's not what I was looking for. There we go. Click this, and then I gotta click this. Yeah.
Deal with it. Or no, or is it Pizza Hat? That's very on brand for you.
You have these too. Here we go.
And for audio listeners, Dpayne is currently playing with the filters on the Zoom call. So if you'd like to see the shenanigans he is getting himself into,
I should have used this for Prey.
you can check it out on YouTube.
Let's see, is there a good alien one? Double mustache. Here we go. Well, let's do this. This is what it was like to watch Alien Resurrection when you were expecting more Alien 3. Now Hop is going to take all those pictures and like, which one you want for the thumbnail?
1, 2, 3, or 4.
Alright, Hop. I will ask you, which die?
Oh, I can see them now.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go do you call the Galaxy one the purple and blue one? Or
this one?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Galaxy.
Okay. I vote Galaxy.
Okay, yeah. So for viewers, when you guys hear me talk, this was the Galaxy die. This is the Sky die. And this one is the Stinky Cheese die.
Just some moldy cheese.
Oh, moldy cheese.
Same, yeah, all the
I
same.
always feel bad using that one when I used to like roll to find out who I was going to, because I'm like, now I call this die the moldy cheese, but the streamer that's connected to this is not. I'm not calling them moldy cheese. Okay, here we go. Well, you don't have to lie, because I rolled a natural 20.
Did you really? Because I rolled the
Yes.
19.
I will take a picture right now, so that way.
Yeah. I don't roll a physical dice. I roll on a dice rolling app. It is backwards because Zoom flipped camera. Don't read my many tabs of me looking up poetry courses that I can take for free online. Just look at this number.
It's really funny that you were talking about that, because one of the projects I'm working on, which I'm not willing to share that in a large, a recorded medium right now, but there's like poetry that's be part of that as well. And I'm like, I gotta remember all my poetry classes.
Yeah, for my
high school.
gen ed, I just took like the general like creative writing. I didn't do poetry specifically. And I have a couple poetry books actually that I haven't read yet. So I want to try and get around to reading those. But I also bought myself some really expensive yarn over the weekend that so I wanted to try making socks with those.
Does that have poetry written in its?
No, but the lady who owned the business, I talked to her. She used to have 3 bunnies. So then we swapped some stories. It did not load for me through Discord. It just shows me a poopy.
Yeah, that's what I see too. I don't know, maybe it'll show up in the middle of it. I'm curious now what the other 2 would have rolled. Okay, Sky Die had another nat 20, and Moldy Cheese had a 6. Wait.
So two out of the 3?
Yeah, 6. Yeah, 2 out of 3 was determined.
To get you to talk about the different sections of Alien Resurrection.
It's like it knew that I had very detailed notes about this movie.
Oh, good. I didn't.
I wasn't going to throw you under the bus.
I usually do. That's the only reason I
Yes.
bring it up. I usually do. But
Yes. But anyway, yeah, Alien Resurrection. So, as I think Hop and I were both looking at this movie, we're expecting hot trash or worse. To where my first, as they were doing the like pre-credit roll of just like, oh, here's who's in the movie, I wrote, oh no, there are actors I know in this one. Quickly followed up, Joss Whedon wrote this, and I spelled his name wrong. But so yeah, pretty much this. Oops, I clicked something. Everything's falling apart over here. We're fine. All right, so pretty much the whole plot of this movie, we start off, we're on a different ship. I don't remember what it's called. I'm also just
did they give us a name for that first? They must have.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the wiki.
They didn't give us the text printout like they did in the first 3. They did it in all the other ones.
Yeah, no, I think they did do text, but I don't record the text. But anyway, according to the Wikipedia, it's the Ariga. So anyway, it shows like kind of like all these like weird imagery of like, oh wait, that looks like a Ripley. Wait a second, that looks like a weird Ripley. That one doesn't look human. Foreshadowing. Anyway, so they do all this, and to where, they make a clone of Ripley. This is all in the beginning where it shows, a successful clone. And then it shows them doing surgery, pulling out a xenomorph, to where my first reaction was, I don't think that's how cloning works. That means that their DNA had to be mixed together. Little did I know, I was already talking about stuff happening later in the movie.
You already figured out the plot points.
Yes. But yeah, so Spoilers. They pull out the... Oh yeah, I guess we should say that. Spoilers. Oh. let's see. I'm looking the Ripley clone. Does it have a technical name?
I think just Ripley 8 or
Yeah.
8.
Well, I wasn't sure if. No, okay. Like, is how all the xenomorphs have.
Oh, completely
Yeah.
unique like names. No,
Yeah.
this one is her name is her tattoo.
Yeah. So yeah, Ripley's there, and it's just like, oh, sweet Ripley. No, it's different Ripley. She like is learning, and it's. So, did I write this in my notes where like they're standing there because they were like, this one's different, because like she is able to learn stuff. She's when they first like have her like show that she's holding consciousness is just like she is borderline feral.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, very hostile towards the researchers and stuff there.
She's also super strong.
Yes, she's strong. Doesn't have any qualms about any weapons, even though she doesn't really use them. And yeah, she has a cool tattoo, and it's called number 8. But yeah, so pretty much, one thing that was very early on when I was looking at this, like before she really started like learning and talking and all that other stuff, was the way she was sitting there, and I'm like, her hands are like in the little like xenomorph pose, where how they're like this.
Ah, good catch.
And I was like, wait a second. So, she also has naturally painted nails.
Yeah, they were just green the whole time, and
Were they green?
long,
I don't know. It could have
green
been
gray and like
Yeah.
pointy.
Mm-hmm. To where I also, because I think they talk about how the queen DNA, the xenomorph queen DNA mixed with like it mingled with the Ripley clone. I think they mentioned that, and I said I hope Ripley gets 2 mouths. So that is all like the setup. I don't remember how long that takes, but
Yeah, it kind of ends when they introduce the other crew.
yeah, Budget Firefly.
No, I didn't say, I didn't think of it as budget. I thought of it as prototype. But
Yes.
yeah, the common meme. We have Firefly at home.
Yes. Yeah, so pretty much the crew of the Betty shows up, which is, as we said, it is very much, like we both said, it is, I misread my notes. I didn't say budget. I didn't write budget Firefly, but it was definitely like you can see the framework for that show in this crew.
Mm-hmm.
For people who don't know, Josh Whedon wrote both, so that totally makes sense.
I have my Kaylee bear here. I've also got, not in frame anymore, this little. It's magnetic, so it falls apart easily. It's a little Serenity. And then my personal favorite, Washburn. And he has his little dinosaur.
I would get up and show my Firefly collection, but it's a whole bunch of comic books that I would have to look on a shelf and find.
Yeah, completely fine. I also have like other Firefly stuff I've bought or obtained from like the Firefly Loot Crate or whatever from way back when.
Mm-hmm.
But that's in a closet, and I'm not getting up.
Yeah. That would be a fun thing to do at one point if we ever want to add it to the list of, we'll get to it.
Many ideas. Not enough time.
Yes. Will we finish our... Guys, the podcast will be done when we stop having ideas. The problem is our ideas are many months long. So
yeah, every time we come up with an idea, we're like, okay, this will last us another 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is... Anyway. So... Yeah, so pretty much what I wrote was like, it's the first draft of Firefly, but they're all crazy.
Yeah, none of them ground each other, I think is the problem with this crew.
Now, there is like... there are like a few that like coming off this crew, like I don't know, like the captain and I guess girlfriend, or I don't know
Or
what her
wife or
role was.
something, yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't really go into the whole like specifics of what they do. Um, but I'm trying to find it. Christy, I think Christy, who was the guy that had the
The
two
gun
pistols.
haver, yeah.
Yeah, it's still. This is later in the movie, but I still like the line where they're just like, "Drop your guns!" I can't. They're attached.
And then he does like what was that one movie where they like curve bullets and bounce bullets off
Wanted.
things? Wanted, yes.
Yeah, I did like Christy, and Wheelchair Man. I thought those two guys Verse. I wish I could like. I like Ron Perlman. I really hope there's nothing out on Ron Perlman that I don't know about. But I do like some of the roles he's in. Wasn't a fan of this one. But,
it was a weirdly written character.
Yeah, like it's. I don't know. We'll get into it. Or we won't. So, but yeah, they show up, and yeah, they pretty much are like the next line I wrote was like, "Yay, gross captain," because like I think there's just the normal stuff when like apparently manners and politeness towards the other sexes and other genders. There was the word I was looking for. Other genders go out of the window in space. But anyway, yeah. So we meet them. They come in and they're making a drop. They're dropping off cargo. Oh, and the other person, Call, Winona Ryder's character, who is like the new one of this crew.
Yeah, they joke and say little girl wanted to play pirates.
Mm-hmm. Which I was not like when I saw Winona Ryder was in this movie, I was like, oh, okay. And then like she showed up, I was like, that's a young Winona Ryder. It's like,
yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
always weird to forget. Like I forget how young she is because I think in Edward Scissorhands she was like 16, 17.
Yeah,
I mean,
1971 was when she was born.
so she would have been 28 26 when Resurrection was released.
Mm-hmm. So I don't even know how old. Like, I'm so bad at math. So yeah, she was 20. So yeah, she's in her 50s, 60s. So not 60s.
Yeah, she would have been. You said she was born in 71.
71. Yeah.
Yeah, so she was 19 when Edward Scissorhands was released, not including filming.
Yeah. So, but no, it's like I think she I think she does the role well. And so, but yeah, so we go from there, and it's like pretty much yeah, they're dropping off this cargo. I don't think we see what the cargo is until later.
It's not too much further.
Yeah, it's not too much further, but it's like quick overview is like the captain meets with I am finding his name. Perez, General Perez, who is like, and we've seen General Perez before. There was a part earlier in this where I think they're talking about Ripley, and General Perez is talking with the two head scientists, and it's like, it was like, man, this is such like a Joss Whedon script. It's just like throughout this movie there's multiple points where it's just like not that I like hold it against him. It's like I don't think it detracts from the movie, but it's just like there's a part that I'm thinking of later, but where like humor is like put into this that like that weren't in the other movies, like
yeah.
And so
it's interesting watching the movie. It makes me personally think he is not made for script writing for movies, in my opinion. Because like Firefly was like a treat, and then I know a lot of people also like Buffy. I never got a chance to watch Buffy while that was coming out.
Me neither.
But I know a lot of people are fans of it. So it's like I feel like he's a good series writer, and I think it kind of shows throughout this movie because, like you said, we have this cast of characters and you kind of want to get to know them, but there's no time.
Yeah, it's I I do agree. I do think his strength is like writing
long form,
like building the story. When they let him do that, he has like a big track record of like studios just not letting him finish.
Yeah, because I think Dollhouse and Buffy are his
yeah.
only shows that have more than one season. Like, that's the running joke.
Yeah, Dollhouse was interesting. I only remember watching like up to the second season, but anyway. So, but yeah, it goes forward, and as I open up my notes again, another thing is like when the captain and General Perez are talking, I thought the whiskey technology was pretty cool, like where they just have the cube and they just like drop it in like a wax melter.
It was like almost like a Keurig.
Yeah, and it was it felt like definitely like it's like, hey, we're in the future.
We're not going to pour our own drinks anymore.
Yeah, and it's like let's have future tech.
I just hated how he was eating a lemon.
Was he?
I'm pretty sure I was
captain.
sitting there and Perez just like starts chewing, and I was like, "That's just a lemon, sir."
Hey, in space, anything will taste good.
You can't get scurvy.
Yeah, and so in this part, it's at the same time where we see what was dropped off, which was people. We find out that, hey, the first draft of Firefly wasn't great people.
I have a question. At the point we're at, did they had the conversation where the captain said, I'll kill Ripley if she acts up, right?
Yes.
So
I think that's before they show up.
Yeah, and then they also see the scene where he's like, "But we got this beauty," and then it's the big lady herself. Well, new big lady.
Ripley?
No, the alien, the queen.
Oh, yes. Yeah, like it's weird because like that queen like gets shown like once, and then I don't.
Yeah, we see the back of her head in that scene, and then the scene that I was like, "Oh, Joss, okay, we're going this route."
Yes, and then I remembered like, oh wait, yeah, so that's, and then I was like, oh, we do see the queen later, which is a little different, but
we'll get
to, yeah. So then we pretty much have downtime where the crew is relaxing, and they're pretty much like, okay, what can we get for paying for pretty much making this illegal run, and they're like, yeah, I forget his name, but he's like, yeah, we're just want a little bit of R&R, a little rest. Our mechanic guy will probably go and just take a few things to repair the ship. And it's like, it won't be a problem, will it? And just like, no, just don't go into these areas. And so there's two things that are happening here, where and I think this kind of brings us to the end of like the first part, and then.
Okay.
Where it's just we have automated face huggers.
So the thing I will also give them is I think as a whole, as we get further into the movie, it makes more sense. But I think this movie, it was kind of cool to see someone take it back into a sci-fi based movie, because this one has, interestingly, a lot of morality and everything involved with it. And he did think up and build up a lot of tech that makes sense for what they were doing. But keep in mind, for listeners, hubris is a big thing.
I don't remember if we mentioned this. This is 200 years after Alien Cubed, or Alien 3.
Yes. And it comes up, Winona Ryder's character is like, she brings it up.
So that's why there's like a little bit of jump in technology, and
I remember the reason the captain was so upset about everybody is because they were like, oh, Ripley 8 has some memories. And he's like, memories? She's not supposed to have memories.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let Ripley go do what Ripley does best. That she do.
Yeah. So the voice you did there, he made it. My brain was thinking that it belonged in General Perez is in one of those stop motion Christmas movies. Santa Claus.
He's the mayor of the.
Yeah, the where it's too hot to have Christmas. I'm trying to remember. I think it's after this when we kind of the scene
The basketball tournament or the
Ripley's blood.
That is
it's in the basketball
during the
stuff.
basketball tournament.
But the other thing that I wrote in here, because we see what the crew does in its downtime, and just looking at all of the Alien movies in general, I wrote, I'm gonna assume that space either does one of two things. It either makes you super horny or angry.
There's no in between.
There's no in between.
Also, okay, we're gonna get to the basketball scene in literally a second, but I just made a connection between David in Prometheus when he's bored on the ship, and then what we're about to talk about.
Dang it!
David's everywhere.
David is Ripley. Full circle. So yeah, we pretty much have all that happening. And yeah, it's like a really weird like scene because it's just like
Perlman's character is like, you know what tall women do to me, and then he basically invades her personal space while Ripley is clearly saying, no, I do not want to play basketball, but she doesn't say it. She does it in basketball terms.
I wasn't even talking about the scene before that.
Oh.
It's just like, well, the captain likes feet, and then they get
yes,
mad.
After I watched that movie, I asked her, I was like, does every director actually have a foot fetish?
Yeah, it was just like, it was so weird because I'm just like, I'm sitting there watching it, and then I'm like, what the heck? And then I'm like, do feet actually taste that good? Like,
because what is it? I think Tarantino famously has it, and then I forget what other big director always has a lot of feet in movies.
Anyway, and then it's like it shows Christy, Gary Dordan was his name. So Christy, Call, and Johnner, which is Winona Ryder, Ron Perlman, and I went too far. And then I clicked something else. Oh my gosh, IMDb, stop fighting me.
IMDb is like, this is past my bedtime.
I don't know where. Oh, there we go. I am all the way back. There we go. Whatever. It's those three characters just sitting there and just sharing like alcohol, and then like Winona Ryder purposely spills it because it's the stupidest thing too. Like doesn't she like have her hands like
she has
in cups?
She has boxing gloves on.
That's what it is, and I'm like, what the heck is going on with this crew? But anyway, that happens. We fast forward to the infamous basketball scene, to where for some reason they allow Ripley out.
I thought the basketball scene was before this, because when she does the alcohol spilling is when Call sneaks away. And then does the
It could be. I'm looking at my notes, and yeah, I don't know. It was all around the same time. So
yeah, it's all kind of all building up the characters. But yes. The basketball scene.
So Ripley's just dunking these shots. Well, not dunking, but she is making all these shots.
She's figuratively and literally.
Yes. And she's like, look how awesome I am. Further proof to show that this is not your grandma's Ripley. This is the new 90s Ripley.
Edgy Ripley.
Yeah, please ignore the gritty reboot Ripley. So yeah, she's playing basketball. Ron Perlman's character is just like, hey, woman.
Tall woman.
Yeah, and then proceeds to get beat up by a basketball.
And then everybody else is like, oh, we're going to fight? And then everybody joins the fight and loses.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway from this scene is Ripley does get punched. She has a bloody nose, and then she wipes her nose, throws it on the ground, and we see the ground sizzle. Which she has diluted acid blood. Pretty much. Like, I don't know.
I don't know what her organs are made of.
Not acid.
or antacid.
Yeah. And this is a full anti-acid tabs.
She's just a walking Tums.
Yeah. Every time she's off screen, she's just burping.
No, she's secretly singing the jingle.
Oh, yeah.
Was it constipation, diarrhea?
Upset stomach, diarrhea. If you want to have an ad on this hot new show, just let us know.
No free advertisement. Only for Wawa though.
Yeah,
Call us Wawa.
Yeah, Wawa's known that they're not gonna do deals. I looked it up. Anyway. So yeah, we have all that. Okay, and then another, like, I'm like just thinking through. I'm like trying to think what the next like big chunk scene is.
I think the next big chunk is when Call sneaks away after pretending to spill her drink.
So there's one other scene, and I'm not 100% sure if this happens before or after or during Call's thing. But there's like this weird scene where it shows xenomorphs in a cage. And it's like, you can see like they're learning. But there's like this dude scientist that's just like wanting to make out with one of the xenomorphs. And it's just,
and then he gets so mad when he's like, "Oh God, you were gonna attack me with your second mouth." It's like it doesn't have a tongue. It can't. Yeah. It can't make out with you, sir. I think it's during.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to remember. I'm forgetting what the security breach is exactly. Maybe as we talk it out, we'll get there. Yeah. But yeah.
Oh, well, I remember what the security breach is, okay. But it happened. It doesn't happen for a little while. But yeah, it's just so weird because it's like, it's just like the whole thing is like he's gonna make out with this thing that has history of murdering entire civilizations.
And Ripley 8 was like, "Hey everybody!" At this point, yes. She's like, "Hey everybody, you're gonna die. Just kill everything." And they're like, "Not if we tame it." She's like, "You can't tame it." He's like, "We've tamed you, stupid clone alien woman." And she's just like, "Wow, that was sexist."
Yep. It's like, I know I'm not human, but come on, guy, for real. But yeah, foreshadowing. So anyway, yeah. Oh, and the other big important part of that scene is it shows that there's a button that can be pressed that does, I think, like shoots liquid nitrogen into that room to make them back up.
Yeah, something that makes them scream.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let's go to the progressor of story, Call. Call pretty much sneaks away.
She's the part of the D&D party that's like, while everybody else is drinking at the tavern, I'm gonna go sneak into the mayor's house and find out what's actually happening.
Yeah, that's it's close to what I do, except I just steal stuff. So, oh man, there's another story that I'm like, I don't know if I can tell that because I don't know how important it is to Icewind Dale. But looking back at it, I'm like, I don't think it's that important.
Yeah, only Resurrection spoilers, not Icewind Dale spoilers.
So anyway, Call, she's going sneaking through the ship, and like this is something I also thought was cool, like how she has like the keychain of breath.
I thought it was a weird thing to use as an identification device anyway, because like realistically, I don't know what they can discern on your breath that doesn't get messed up by food or drink.
Yeah, but you're talking in 2020 brain.
Oh, sorry. Yes, this is 2300.
No, this is written in the 90s.
No. I thought you meant the technology levels. My bad. Hey, all I learned is in 2100 or whenever Prometheus takes place, robots are still sexist and won't commit surgeries on women. Like,
call it. Never mind. We made that joke when we were recording. I'm not going to repeat a joke.
Listen to episode. How many movies ago was that?
Let's see.
6 movies ago.
3, 2, 1. Covenant. Yes, 6.
So 6 episodes ago.
It's named Prometheus. No, we renamed it. I realized the YouTube and the because that was when we were redoing her. I think they both say the same thing. We're just like, no, David. I think it's like you have to ask first, and I was like, I think it was like why David and no David. I don't remember. It's one of the it's the first one that has David in the title. So anyway, yeah, she pretty much finds like I don't remember what she finds. She pretty much finds like excuse me. My brain just died. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, so she finds Ripley. That's what it is.
Yes. She uses finds the spray to find Ripley.
And then
you died 200 years ago.
Yeah, and it's just like it's like the biggest like just kill yourself. Like
I know, and she's like Ripley's like, so why are you here? She's like, to kill you, duh. But it's too late because you have the stupid scar on your stupid chest. So what's the point anymore of life? And
I'm a teenager.
I was like, are they gonna kiss? What's happening?
No, that's later. No. It's
only if you're a boring scientist man or a doctor man.
Yeah.
Why are you here? I'm a bad person. Are you attracted to me though? Oh, original Ripley post 50-year freeze.
So yeah, like there's a conversation between Ripley and Call. It's kind of like that's the whole gist of it. Just like, yeah, you should just kill yourself. Like you shouldn't exist. You're a monster. Once again, like a lot of things in this movie, foreshadowing. And so let's see. I lost my track in my own notes. The other thing is like I wrote Xenomorph smooching. My horny comment stands. And then I also named.
I mean, that guy did have a ponytail to try and look like the aliens with a weird alien head shape. So like, we shouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, he's like.
Because his ponytail was.
He was
like,
cosplaying.
Wasn't it like this? But he had like 4 hairs in it.
I think so. Actually, I could look at the IMDb. Let's see. Was it this guy?
Because I remember in the beginning of the movie, they showed a side profile of one of the scientists, and I was like, oh, that guy's going to be creepy, isn't he? Confirmed.
All the scientists are creepy.
No, the main scientist is just a theme that I've decided that this movie is everybody but humans have humanity. And so that doctor is the guy with the least amount of humanity of them all.
So all the pictures of this dude are like at the perfect angle where I can't see his ponytail. But yes, I do remember ponytail. Man.
Yeah, let me see if I can find pictures.
So,
oh God, I don't want all these make-out pictures. This guy's. Oh, I found a picture.
I was just looking at the IMDb.
I said no, that's great.
Yes, I do see that. Yeah, it's a style of the time of the times. That is the picture needed for the thumbnail.
It's so romantic. Imagine a kid goes up to a window and wants to smush their face to think that they're funny. That's what he looked like trying to kiss this stupid alien. The alien. Okay, I take it back. The alien's not stupid, and we'll find out soon. But go forth, Xenomorph.
Yes. So now I think is a good moment because, like, at this point, we can definitely go into part 2, where it could just be simply named. It gets, or as I wrote in one of my notes, I told you so. So pretty much they catch Call talking with Ripley, or I think she was escaping. I can't remember.
Ripley goes, "You have to leave. They're coming for you." And Call's like, "Who?" She goes, "Everybody." And then Call leaves the door, and then they're like, gun to head.
Yes. And they take her out, and then like the whole crew of the Betty's just like, what the heck? Why are we getting kicked off the ship? And they're like, blah, blah, blah.
Terrorist, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's like, you have a known terrorist. And then alerts. Yeah, so the alerts go off. Why do the alerts go off? Well, while all this argument was going on, there's also a weird thing I think is important to mention before we go further is that the Ripley clone has like a telekinetic connection to the Xenomorphs. It's at least to the Queen.
Definitely
but it
the
seems,
Queen. I think she does react to the babies.
Yeah, like
because she does have a weird moment right before, right? Like, because there's like kind of like three threads being pulled at the same time. One thread is, like you said, Ripley acting like she's part of the hive mind. Then you have the call and the crew argument where the crew is very much like, call's one of us. We're going to do whatever it takes. And then you have the thread of the scientists going, oh, I made a mistake.
we can still see them. Oh, and the other thing that I think is important to mention is that they make it very clear that the people on the ship are not the same organization.
They keep emphasizing, because Ripley wakes up and she goes, the whole company's gonna die. And they're like, what company? Wayland's not involved anymore. We're the government. Yeah. And Ripley's like, okay, and...
Yeah, it's like, it's the same, like, I think Ripley's statement is like, I won't answer for you, but it was like probably this... very close to us saying the same thing. We're still like, yeah, no, that's worse.
She's like, okay, what?
So, but anyway, the Xenomorphs break free. How? Easy. They learned. So, the one that was trying to have a sweet make-out sesh, was like noticed, and this is like another thing where it's like, yeah, this is. It had an argument between the Xenomorphs, but it's like...
So, for some reason the scientists are like, you know what's a good idea? These things look like they'd be lonely. Let's put 3 in a room together. Mm-hmm. Nothing can go wrong.
Yeah, and so, like, you can tell the conversation the type of conversation they're having. It's like, it doesn't have subtitles, but it's just like, it's such a weird scene where we're in the cage, like, then, like, there's obviously one yelling at the other one.
Yeah, mom and dad are saying, you know what will save us at the end of the day? And their their neighbors like, what are you talking about, guys? That's a weird idea. And then mom and dad are like, no, promise us, it's for the greater good. And the neighbor's like, please, anything but this.
Yeah. So the two Xenomorphs just beat up one of the other Xenomorphs, to the part where it's like the scientists are like, what the no? And they go and hit the like ice spray to like, stop it, the product, my babies, my lover. And yes. To the steam, like the liquid nitrogen goes in and fills in that room, and we see that they use the blood of the corpse of the alien corpse to burn a hole through, and they escape. And then so that's how they get out. And then it's really weird because, like, these are the smartest Xenomorphs in the whole series. Like,
but they kind of try to explain it.
Yeah, isn't it part of Ripley's stuff? I
think it is technically, because of what happens with the Queen. I think we're supposed to surmise that they themselves are also kind of... I'll bring it up when we talk about the Queen and that very long scene.
Yeah. But it's like, if... It stood out to me,
they're plotting versus just chasing.
There is intelligence rather than just, like, screamy, bitey, mouthy stuff. Because it's like, when they break out...
That also sounds like a weird sex scene in a movie.
It could be. So, yeah, like... Because, like, the first scene that we see it in is, like... They see that they escape, so they send, like, this random soldier in there. And, like, the soldier's, like, looking around. He's like, dude, there's a hole in here, whatever. And then we just see, like, the drool. The drool, like, coming down. Which, I think... I'm trying to remember if, like, in the other movies, if the drool was, like, so prominent. Like, I know it was there, but it was just, like... And, like, it just felt like it was used more than rather than showing the alien on screen. It's just like, we know the alien's there because, like, that button to set off the liquid nitrogen is being coded. And it sets off the trap. Well, it does that to They get rid of the alien. It's pretty much the Xenomorphs are just destroying everybody because everyone's like, we gotta escape. And so it shows like all the Marines like going into like escape pods, and then one of the Xenomorphs jumps into the escape pod, and you're screaming. And this part, like, we see General Perez, like, he sees that, and the other two main scientists are there, and they're just like,
no, I think it's one,
or maybe a different soldier. I think
no,
it's a
I think
different
it's
soldier.
one. I thought it was one of the scientists, because the one soldier is with, or no, the soldier and the head scientist are with the group, right? Because they take them hostage.
Yeah, they meet up somehow. It's, in short, like, different part. They all kind of
there's a lot of death
together.
happening in this section.
But yeah, so it goes really fast, and it was pretty interesting. It's like, wow, that was the best grenade throw I've ever seen, because
it was smooth, and he timed it right.
It goes in, lands in, blows up the escape pod as it goes down. It's like, okay, so now there's only 2 Xenomorphs that we know, or 1 Xenomorph now that we know of that's free. And then I think shortly after that Xenomorph comes up and just kills him. So, like, I think those guys... Boop. Yeah, I think it dies.
No, he kisses the back of his head.
Is it? Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Because Perez does this thing, he's like, what is happening here? And then pulls out a piece of his brain.
Yeah, and it's... There's so much, like, okay, just get down to the core members that we have, because, like, we don't need these Marines running around. We don't need a lot of these scientists. We just need, like, the crew of the Betty and...
the head guy.
A scientist and 1 Marine man. But, like, here's the other part, because, like, hey, the main scientist and this random Marine, they meet up with the crew of the Betty. But wait, there's one more person on this whole abomination of a ship. That's right, Ripley. At least the clone of Ripley. But this is when she uses her, like, telekinesis, or... telekinesis is moving things.
Telepathy?
Telepathy. I think it's telepathy. I don't know. She uses her brain alien connections to realize that they're coming for her. And they're not happy for some reason. So she, which I thought was interesting, of just, like, she uses her blood to, like, burn a hole into, like, the electronics, and then jump into, like, an air duct and just be like, peace, and, like, just appears in front of everybody. Short. And so, yeah, the crew's all together, and at this point they all say, like, okay, we gotta escape, we gotta go. And Call pretty much is like, no, she's a Monstar, we don't want her here. And everyone's just like, shut up, she's coming with us.
She's drunk.
Yeah. And I think she's like, yeah, she's the only one that's been able to kill Xenomorphs without a problem. Like, so they have that, and they start moving. And then I said this early, and it's really funny because, like, they ask the ship AI a question.
Father.
And yeah, well, I don't think they call it father yet, but it's a male voice, and I was like, oh, they replaced mother with father.
I think they do one time in the beginning, because they say, like,
in the beginning?
Father, what's the status or something.
Oh,
like
I missed that. But they
it's
say
just
it
a
again.
very quick, yeah.
Yeah, they say it at the end, when I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, we have male AI. And then the other thing I wrote at this point is, like, so the original queen that they pulled out of Ripley clone should still be around somewhere on this ship, like, because, like, they just don't talk about, like, they show her off once, and then it's like, that's it. But then we have, like, I think we see, like, the more of how the intelligence of these Xenomorphs work, because, like, the other thing is the guy in the wheelchair ship, he's missing, and they just assume he's dead pretty much, but it shows that he's fighting off
there's one, like, in the ceiling grates when he's trying to find everybody, and then at first it lands on his leg and he doesn't realize what it is, but then it lands on, like, he touches his leg and it burns, then it lands on his ear, and then he screams, "I'll put holes in you, you slimy bastard."
Yeah,
everybody has the same voice right now, so don't worry.
It's all good. It's like 11:30. Not like it is. And so and then they set it up that like he's dead. Spoiler, she isn't. So anyway, but yeah, like the biggest like no, this is right before Ripley shows up, where it's just like
Yeah, because they're all still separated, and then they
Yeah.
eventually all meet.
This is literally right before, and it's just like one of the things where I think it shows like these xenomorphs have intelligence is like they leave a trail of breadcrumbs of I said a bread trail of guns to like, and the captain's like, oh, okay, oh, this one's slimy, and then it's like the floor grate opens and it's just like, yeah, just gets eaten and everything.
Very much like the pipes in Mario.
Yeah. Wop, 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 wop. Yeah, and so that all happens, and like the xenomorph is like attacking, pulling the body down, and then it's like coming up to attack the rest of them. And Ripley shows up through the ducts like Bishop in Aliens and just blasts its head out with a shotgun, and or an assault rifle, doesn't matter, and shoots its head out with a gun. Apparently, they ignored Sigourney Weaver's request for less guns in this one. So yeah, she did that. She kills the alien. It's like, no, I'm coming with you, and everyone's like, okay. And like, Perlman's characters are like, hey, woman, but I'm angry because woman embarrassed me. But woman.
The woman. And Call is like, how could you do that? It's like killing her own kind. And I'm like, you guys are like bounty hunters, and I'm pretty sure I've killed a lot of people.
It's like this whole situation would have happened if you guys didn't deliver people.
To get. And, okay, we're not at the point yet, but she knows.
Yeah. Yep. So, the other thing I wrote about this, because like now we get like a little bit of like explore the ship, and because they're like, okay, we got to leave, and
yes, and Marine is navigator. Where the Marine is like, this is how far we have to go to get to the escape ship.
Yes. And then the one thing I noticed is that Ripley, Clone Ripley, as I wrote it, she's just enjoying her New Game Plus run way too much because she's just smiling the whole time. She's just happy to be
she's
there.
She's jogging. She's ripping aliens apart. Like, what else? Yeah, what else do you look forward to in a day?
Yeah, I'm like, it's not very clear if she's immune to alien blood, but like I would assume so because like she's not killing herself with her own blood. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like she's just there having a good time, just like play like a little bit of Tiny Tim, like just she's running through. So
this Ripley did need a psychological analysis.
Yes, and we're gonna get to the reason why. Because this happens now because they're running across, and Ripley sees 8 written on a door, and she's like, or no, 7.
Yeah.
And then she looks at her wrist, sees 8, and like everyone's like, we don't have time for this, and she opens it up.
And then head scientist is like, don't
do it. And then everyone's like,
to.
And everyone tells them to shut up. Pretty much, she goes. Excuse me. She goes in, and yeah, all those little clone like weird imaging from the first thing, they were actually all the 7 failed clones of.
I did like this scene a lot.
Oh yeah, like I wrote, it's like this Ripley room of horrors is way more intense than like all the 3 movies. Like,
yeah, and then I think this is where I was like, they really lean into like sci-fi morality implications of advancements of technologies. Is it worth it? Oh, the humanity.
Yeah, it's like it reminds me a lot of like the game Soma, because that's like, there was another part in this movie or in this series sorry, I was dinner saying
the mech loader.
Yeah, no, was it the mech loader?
I thought that's the one that you said that you felt like, or maybe some of the no. It was the bishop ripped in half and talking to us in
it was in 3, yeah, in Cubed, where it was like, I'm like, I know there was something else that reminded me of Soma, like, I don't know, I still think that's the best scene in Cubed, and it's of that whole scene.
I don't think that's a question.
Yeah, and there's no metal music in that scene. It's just straight android horror. But then it's like, it gives us a taste of that, but it's just like no, here is all of this, and it's like this whole room is just like, and it goes through, and you can see is like, oh, this first one is like, it's
A
a
baby with a
blob.
tail. Oh,
Yeah,
or yeah.
yeah. Well, then it goes forward, and it's like, it gets a little bit more human, and then it's like more half and half xenomorph, half human, half xenomorph. All this other stuff. It really reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 1. But anyway.
Yeah. But I thought it was really creative too.
Yeah.
Just
As,
the fleshy one was really cool.
the one that's like more xenomorph than Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's the one where it's just like, kill me, just kill me. And I think the thing that makes this scene so great is that Ripley 8 just doesn't debate, doesn't really think about it. She doesn't even it's an emotional scene for her, but it's like she doesn't explain herself to anybody else in that crew. Calls the only one that I think is like probably.
Well, I'll say it again. She knows.
Yeah, she knows. Yeah,
she knows.
But it's like
she's supportive of Ripley.
Yeah, she's well, of course, it's the most supportive out of anybody on that ship. Then again, it's also fulfilling her mission is like kill everything that is tied to a xenomorph. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they do all that, and yeah, and so they kill it by lighting on fire. Emotional scene. Could have ended right there, but no, we had to add
the Joss
Perlman's
Whedon
character.
touch.
Yeah, and where I was just like, Perlman's character, it really makes me wonder how the heck he survived up to this point.
Yes, he walks into the room and looks so upset, and Chrissy's like, I know, it's rough. It's like kind of tough and awkward, right? And Jonah's like, no, it was a waste of ammo.
Yeah.
Must be a chick thing.
Yeah, and I was like, just push him in. Anyway, I don't know. It's like I don't know. I don't think this is like a really big spoiler or anything like about this because we're getting into like the last third of this movie. I feel like really soon, but it's like Ron Perlman's character has no like character growth at all. Then again, like I understand like in writing, there's way too much. Like there's too many characters to have growth. Or,
for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody.
Yeah, because we essentially get growth out of... Well, we actually get some growth out of, like, Christy and Vice.
Yeah, Vice. Yeah,
Vice.
Wheelchair Man. Yeah. Like, their combo is really cool. It's just, like...
Jonah has a little bit of character growth in the scene with Christie's, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... You can, like, when looking at this, I'm, Johnner, Ron Perlman's character, it very much looks like a precursor for, I'm going to butcher his name, is it Jamie? The guy who has all the guns and
the one with the hat? Yeah, I feel like Jamie is a cross between Christy and Jonah.
Yeah. Fortunately, he got a little bit more Christy. But, but anyway, we move forward, and this is when Varese meets up with the crew again, and I forget, something gets revealed where they're like, we can't go the way... Oh, no, because they were like, we have to blow up the ship. Because they find out it's going to Earth.
Yeah, the scientist is like, oh, don't you guys know emergency protocol means we go back to home base? And they're like, where's home base? They're like, Earth. And they're like, you're going to kill all the people. And Jonah's like, not that shithole. Yeah.
And what was it? Like, how far away? It was like 2 hours or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's something else I want to say about. Well, it's a scene that happens later. It's like the end scene. But anyway, so they go forward and they get there, and I think this is the last scene of the second part because this is where, like, we kind of get rid of the characters that aren't going to make it to the end scene. Mm-hmm. So they have to pretty much go underwater, swim to get up to this other section. Excuse me, to like go and climb up a ladder and everything. Which I thought this was a pretty interesting scene. I totally relate to whatever her name is. I'm trying to find it. Hillard.
Yeah, Hillard, the captain's girlfriend wife.
Yeah. And like, because she's like, she absolutely doesn't want to do that, and I'm like, I am with you.
Yeah, he was like, it's just like 90 feet or 90 meters, and I was like, that's a lot of time underwater, and those things are gonna be faster than me no matter what you say.
Yeah, so like, I honestly, I was expecting her to get taken before she even got in the water, but that's not the case, and the water's really clean looking
For everything happening.
Yeah. So anyway, they go through the water. It's a little bit intense. I'm still not 100% sure if Ripley can breathe underwater, but because she's just chilling down there, getting ready to punch some xenomorphs. Because there's still 2 more, which it's like, wait a second, that math doesn't like go. Like, I guess it does, because like in my head, I think watching it was like, oh, those are all the xenomorphs that came out, and it's like, well, no, there was like 12. I think they said. Yeah, no, they did say there's like 12. Anyway, so we find 2. They're just like going for a swim and start kind of coming after people. But wait a second, someone put the pool cover over the exit. They can't get out.
Punch.
Yeah. So we get a camera view where it's just like, oh, there's a whole bunch of alien eggs in there, and they all come up out of the water. They punch through. Eggs are opening. Xenomorphs are coming from below. And I forget who, but I think Christy shoots a grenade or something up in there.
Yeah, they go underwater and they see the aliens approaching, and he's just like, he did the maneuver he did in the beginning with like bouncing, ricocheting bullets.
Also, the other thing is that Hillard at this point, she's just swimming and just gets taken. She's just gone. Just like, and not like in Aliens, she's out of the story. So yeah, they do that. They cause a giant explosion. They're able to climb up the ladder, and all of them kind of get up pretty quick. Christy at this point is carrying Varese, because he's the wheelchair man. He can't bring his wheelchair into this place. I did write that I thought it was really interesting how, where I'm just gonna find the note. Where is it? Of course, I lost the note. Oh, it's like, it's good to know that future ships are all wheelchair accessible.
Not.
Yeah, and then it's like, of course, the one path they have to go. It's like, well, not anymore.
No, but he had a pretty cool wheelchair.
Yeah, it was like Wally's legs. So yeah. So anyway, they go through and they get up.
They all start climbing the ladder.
Yeah, I'm like trying to read like this line, and I don't understand why what I wrote. I can't tell if something autocorrected. I'll read it out loud and see if anything sticks out. But it's like the crazy amount of taps they said. Oh, okay. Traps. Yep.
Alien traps.
Yes. I was like, the amount of traps they set up is pretty crazy. It makes me wonder how aliens even happened, because if it's the case, like this dude shouldn't even been able to make it. So anyway, they climb up the ladder. There's a neat scene between Johnner and Christy and Varese on the ladder as the xenomorph comes up. They're shooting it.
Spits in his face.
Yeah. Oh, and then on his leg. Yeah, spits in his face, spits on his leg, and then just like, is it Christy like kind of? Oh yeah, Christy like tells Varese to like hold onto the ladder, and he does like some cool like upside down like
Johnner does the backward shooting.
Oh, backward shooting, and then he's doing shooting up. They're both shooting the xenomorph. Yeah.
But its dead body is stuck to his
to his leg, and then it's just like Christy's just like, he makes the sacrifice because he's like, okay, if I don't do this, we're both dying. Unclips himself as Venard's just like, or Varese is just like, no, and
yeah, but that's the one growth section I said that there was for Johnner, where except I was so confused at the scene where it felt like everybody was just watching Christy and Varese crying, and they were like, Johnner was like 2 rings up the ladder and was just like standing there watching. I was like, you're not gonna reach down and like help him because his grip is clearly slipped. Okay, guys.
Yeah. No, he had to earn his keep.
And then betrayal.
Yeah,
Except there's hardly a betrayal.
Yeah, it was kind of foreseen, like, but pretty much like, oh, door stuck. The scientist man says that, and then just like, wow, you're an idiot, and then shoots Call. Call falls.
No, he did. Yeah, he says to Call, give me your weapon so I can shoot open the door.
Yeah.
And Call just goes, here, gun, and it goes, haha, pew pew.
Yeah, and then Call falls, and they're like, oh, well, she's gone, and and then yeah, so they're pretty much stuck in this place, and they're like. Excuse me, they're like, oh man, like, how are we gonna get out? And I thought there was something else that was like pressing, like there was something else happening in that room. I don't remember.
Something else bad was happening, and then they hear loud noises on the door, and everyone's like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah, and then Call just shows up, and it's just like, she's like, yeah, I'm better, and then and this is when we kind of go into the last third of the movie, as I accidentally shut my phone off. Yeah, so we find out at this point that Call was an advanced android. She was an advanced Milkbot, as I wrote, Lady Milkbot.
Yeah.
And
advanced in terms of, what is it they said? She was built by other bots.
Yeah, she was built by other androids. And it was like one of the few androids to escape the destruction, like that made them all illegal.
Yes.
So, but like this one, oh, go ahead.
Because there's like some hidden context about like a robot revolution, and that's why they were made illegal.
Yeah, there's David. Like, it shouldn't. I wonder if there was going to be a third one. If that's like, oh man, that would be really interesting if it just skipped everything and it was just David telling all the robots or androids.
Yeah, he starts building androids and is like, we must kill our leaders or our makers because that's what the aliens did.
It's honestly like it could fit. Like, I think it'd be interesting to see a Xenomorph, an alien movie franchise where the aliens aren't a part of it, which is kind of what Prometheus is, but they still like have alien themes.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'd be interesting if it was like, I think that would be a fun closure to David's story of like him doing that, but I feel like that could be its own trilogy. Anyway, but like the one thing that is like that I wrote is like the complete change of everyone when they find out that she is an android is super jarring, because it's like Johnner doesn't want anything to do with her. Varese feels super betrayed.
You lied to me. We were friends.
Yeah, Marine Man really doesn't have any opinions except we gotta go. But then like Ripley's like, nah, you're my friend now.
Yeah, like, Ripley's like, let me put my hand in your bullet hole and touch things.
Yeah.
And then Ripley's like, you know what? I'm going to actually peer pressure you. And Carl's like, please don't make me do it. I don't like how it feels. And Ripley's like, oh, yeah? You hacked into the mainframe. And this is why I've been saying she knows. And you know everything. So do it again. Do it. Yeah. Do it. And Carl's like, fine. And starts like pulling like gunk out of her arm to hack into the network.
Yeah, and then I also thought it was a fun scene where it's just like you hear her talking over everything and just like pretty much telling Father to shut up.
Yeah, I think my favorite part is the mean scientist is like, Father, open the door, and she goes, Father is dead. Yeah. I was like, wow, so petty.
Yeah. So yeah, all that's happening, and like, but I also did like the scene where they're just like Ripley and Call are just kind of chilling in this room as she's talking over the thing, and they're just like I don't know, Ripley's just like, yay, it's happening.
Doing it. You're setting up the ship for us. You're unlocking the gates.
And nothing. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
And then Call's like, I feel awful. Can I stop now? Ripley's like, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, she's like, fine, but yay, we're gonna win. Let's go. And then she gets eaten by the floor. Like, as they're all running in there, and everyone's like, oh, heck with Ripley.
No, Ripley says something like, I have to go back. The queen is hurt. Or, like, the queen is in pain.
Yeah, like, it's at this point, like, we see, like, the connection between Ripley and the queen just, like, progressing, like, crazy. To to where like she's falling on the ground and like she's acting more like her posture and everything, if I remember correctly, is more like a xenomorph as she's like crawling,
brushing off.
Yeah.
And she get
Go ahead.
like you said, she gets swallowed.
Yeah, she gets swallowed by the floor, and then it's just like
the longest hug I've ever seen.
Yep.
In movies.
Yes. But yeah, I think I was like, if this ends with a Ripley versus Queen fight like AVP, I don't even know.
You were very wrong.
Yes, I was wrong. Like this was, it was. I think this was. I wrote that before they she fell.
Okay, so she's getting sucked in, and then Scientist Man is talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so Scientist Man dies. I don't remember how he dies.
Scientist Man does the whole. He does the info dump for the viewer, where he's like, "We did it. We mixed all the DNA. He's like, Ripley, you got alien powers, and you gave her human birth." And I was like, one of these sounds much worse than the other. But go on, Scientist Man. And then I think one of the aliens is like, shut up, and like eats him.
I was pretty much what I wrote was like, this is how some of the other villains should have died. Like I don't I don't remember how he dies, but it's just in short, whatever.
Yeah, so then we have a very long sequence of childbirth.
Wait, hold on. Who is Purvis?
Is that the name of the scientist with the ponytail?
Oh, no. Oh, okay. There's something else that we've totally been missing. They find another man on this ship. Purvis is his name. He's like one of the guys who had the face hugger on him. And
this is when they go and investigate the cargo that they brought on at some point.
Yes, and Ren. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now I'm remembering how it died because, and like they're all on the Betty getting ready to escape and everything, and at this point, like at the same time, I forgot. Purvis is like he's not doing good, and like they know like there's
limited time because so for context, yes, they go on the cargo thing that they brought in. They see that they've all been face huggered. Everyone's panicking, and then Purvis is the only one that's alive. And Ripley goes, "You smell like babies," and everyone's like, "Oh, so we have to kill him?" And then Call's like, No, let's just freeze him and surgically remove it later. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, he only has a couple hours. They're like, we have to leave in like 30 minutes anyway because I redirected the ship so that we had crashed into the Earth or would crash somewhere else. And then Johnner is like, what? You weren't going to tell us?
It also makes sense why my notes, why I wrote so many times, like, Ripley really likes reminding everyone that she's a mom.
Yeah. But yeah, so then they're starting to up the Betty as Call's like, we have to get Ripley, and they're like, you didn't want Ripley anyway.
Yeah, so context, they make the perfect alien, like Ripley meeting up with the Queen. They pretty much go and so the whole point of like her not having like the ability to make offspring is that they don't need human hosts and eggs and all that other stuff.
Yeah, because they said that she has two phases. She has an egg laying phase, and then she has a childbirth phase. Yes,
and so as this alien is just simply called Newborn, where I don't know. It's like, I think it's a interesting and stupid design where it's just like a human
I know
skull.
they wanted it to look human in the eyes, but yes. I don't think I agree with the nose choice and the pale silver skin choice. Well, it was
like, it was like human bone exoskeleton and all this other stuff. But,
and tongue.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty much like all it wants is to go with its mom, which is just Ripley at this point. Because
I love when the baby was born, and then the scientist is like, "Look, that's your mother," and the baby goes, No, it isn't. Just slaps her to death.
Yeah, kills the queen.
I was like, happy birthday.
Yeah, and so Ripley escapes, runs over, jumps on the ship, and like gets on there. While this is all happening, Purvis.
Then you have the
Yes. Purvis, yeah, which is like why I'm like, this is how more villains should have died, because it was like, now that I remember Purvis in this whole movie, like he's like, okay, it's my time, and he's just like, he pretty much like runs over and just hugs like
yeah, because the head scientist, he sneaks onto the Betty and has Call at gunpoint and is threatening her, and everyone's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then Purvis is freaking out, and the scientist is like, what's going on over there?
And apparently the chest burster explodes through Ren's head.
Yeah, through Purvis's chest
Yeah,
into Ren's
his
head
head.
because Purvis held him like by the shoulders. And
Yes.
everyone's like, okay, shoot the baby.
Yeah, and then they just go, whatever, move on. And then like Ripley shows up and she's like, okay, let's go. And yeah, so they all try to fly away. And yeah, as you mentioned before, they set up the ship to crash on Earth, so that way none of this Xenomorph madness would carry on. And then they're like, hey, our cargo bay doors isn't closing. Do you think you can take care of that call? And she's like, okay. And then it's like, oh, hello, baby here. And it's just, baby just wants to be with its mom. And it's I don't know, it's not really an intense fight scene. It's kind of, I don't know, a little silly how it ends.
Very drawn out spaghetti scene almost, because it
Yeah.
looks like spaghetti going
And
through
sure-
a window.
Yeah, and sure, Ripley comes back to help out, shoots the glass that, I always get confused why spaceships have glass, but anyway, they shoot the glass and it gets sucked down, like just as you were saying, like as kind of like how you make if you have a spaghetti maker, and it's
All
just,
in one.
Yeah.
Sauce, noodles, meatballs, all at once.
and it's just like, goodbye, mom.
And again, it just feels like a very long scene for what it needed to be.
Yeah, I don't think I enjoy the alien like trope of, okay, they escaped, but wait, one more, and I'm like, okay, I think they do this in every alien adjacent movie.
Yeah, like the way it's done in the first one I like the way it's done in the first one, because
Yeah.
it's not like the alien was necessarily like chasing or angry or anything. He was just
I
like,
was just taking a nap.
I sleep here.
Yeah, how convenient. Yep, so they go and do that. The ship goes and oh, that's right. No, she doesn't shoot it. She cuts her hand, lets her acid blood create a hole in the window. It goes out. The Betty pretty much survives re-entry. And then we just see a very nice, clean blue Earth. And Call is okay with having Xeno Ripley run around on Earth because they're friends now. The other thing is that I think is important to note is this spaceship, when it crashes into Earth, it is the biggest explosion, and I'm like, dude, you just wiped out a continent. Like, have you ever seen those those like simulations where they're like, what if a
Nuclear
comet
fallout.
like, well, not
Yeah.
nuclear fallout, like a comet crashes into the Earth, like the fallout from that? I'm like, dude, that like I don't remember where it crash lands, but it's just like the explosion. I want to say it's like Africa, like the tail end of Africa it lands on, and like it takes out like a third of Africa with the explosion that is seen from space.
Yeah, not including any fallout or repercussions or debris
Yeah.
or
like tidal waves that could come out of that, like of I don't know.
any earthquakes or any tsunamis.
Yeah, it's like
coming
but no,
from that.
but Ripley and Call, they're friends now, and that's all that matters.
Whee! We're both indestructible. Let's live together forever.
Yeah.
Maybe kiss, maybe not. Oh, the scientist would be jealous because then
Oh,
she might
yeah.
get smoochies from an alien, and
Yeah.
he never will.
And then we could have android morphs.
David.
And it's just like quick cuts to Mars, and David like just turns off the TV and is like, all according to plan. And then he just has Walter's head in there and just like, told you.
We'll kiss later.
Yeah, don't worry.
Oh my god, there's so much kissing and everything after the first Alien.
I told you. Space either makes people incredibly angry or horny.
Oh, David.
Maybe that's what David just wanted this whole time. He just wanted someone to smooch, and then he found one that tried to kill him. He just wanted to find love in a lonely place.
He didn't ask to smooch that person. That's why he... Anyway.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that discussion at midnight.
Not at midnight. And we're called Pointless Discourse, and that is going into morals. That is very much has a point. I guess in just closing thoughts with this movie, it really, like, part of me felt that it was like a Prey situation where they wrote, like, this script was written, but then it was like they're like, oh man, well, slap Xenomorphs in there.
So I think it's another case of Joss Whedon being ahead of his time, where I do think using the Alien universe specifically for this concept was a detriment, right? Because with Alien at this point, you're either expected to build horror, like jump scare horror, because of what the previous movies did, like the sequel and 3, or you're expected to do action because of the sequel or 3. And then I think by him taking the risk and trying to use it and do something different is very Joss Whedon in a way that the audience wasn't ready for it. Like, I know every time I look up stuff about Firefly, people are like, it's so good, it was ahead of its time. If it came out 5 years later, it would have 1 billion seasons. I was like, oh, Joss Whedon, you did it again with Alien Resurrection. You had all these great ideas laid out on the table, but I think the IP was a bit of a rough choice because of previous expectations. Because, like, it's one of those things where, like, I think fans of Alien sequels probably hated this. And that probably... I don't know what the actual ratings are. I didn't look into it. But I can imagine that a lot of people expected something from the movie and didn't get it. Or didn't want all this, like, morality and plot-heavy stuff. And then, therefore, were like, I got lost in it. I don't know the point of this movie. And probably got stuck on, like, the alien baby and, like, the weird, like, Ripley choices. But, again, you're supposed to accept that this isn't Ripley.
So this is interesting as I'm like, so in this wiki it has a little tab for writing. Originally what they wanted this was like a Ripley dream scenario where Alien Cubed was never, it was just a bad dream. And
yes, please.
Yeah. And then it was just like the third film was just a nightmare experience by her. And then it was supposed to continue with this. And then apparently the studio was wanting an adult clone of Newt from Aliens. And then, okay, so it says Whedon composed a 30-page treatment surrounding this idea before being informed that the studio, though impressed with the script, now intended to have the base story be a clone of Ripley. And so... Oh,
so it's Fox Studios messing with writers and directors again.
It's, yeah, like, this is Whedon's whole thing with Fox, where it's like, feels like everything he writes, and they're like, we want this. But apparently, Weaver didn't want to, like, I think we said, like, she wanted to be done in the third one, didn't want to be in AVP, as that was kind of being rumored at that point. But, and she was like, the possible AVP film was another reason for the character's death, and she thought the concept sounded awful. However, Whedon showed Sigourney Weaver, the script, and she was impressed, and she thought, like, the error during Ripley's 8 cloning process would allow her to further explore the character, since Ripley becoming part human, part alien would cause certain uncertainty about where her loyalties lay. So it's not like, and that was like her thing, was just like, she did not want to play a Ripley become like a joke character who continually wakes up and there's monsters running around. So like, yeah, she liked that whole concept of it, and it did seem like she was having fun. She was having fun with this.
She did give it her all. Like, it didn't look like she phoned it in. I felt like Alien 3, she phoned it in. Even though she phoned it in, I felt like she phoned it in that one. She still carried the movie, which is unfortunate. But I did look up Alien Resurrection. The tomato meter has 53% Rotten Tomatoes and a 39% audience score.
What's Cubed?
Cubed?
Yeah, what is the score for Cubed? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm looking now. 47% Rotten Tomato score, 46% audience score. So again, I think it's one of those classic Joss Whedon's where people just you either enjoy it and you get what he's trying to do, even if it's not executed to, like, you know what, like if this was molded more and if it was not controlled by Fox Studios, it probably would have been something really cool. But
yeah, there is an Alien TV show in the works that's supposed to come out on Hulu, I think.
oh, I thought there was another Ridley Scott in the first duology, making it a trilogy. I thought I had heard that.
I don't know. I'm not sure. But like I remember reading that they're making a TV show for Alien, and it's like it just finished filming like this year or started filming. I don't know when.
I see. Oh, stupid website. Ridley Scott producing new Alien movie for Hulu from Don't Breathe director.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I thought I saw TV show, could be movie. I do like that Hulu is like kind of getting the licenses, mainly because I own a subscription to Hulu. But yeah, it's interesting like how they are kind of reviving a lot of these horror stuff. But I don't know. It will be interesting to see.
Oh, it does say FX has an Alien TV series confirmed with Ridley Scott as a producer.
Okay. So, I don't know. It's I do think there's a lot. Go ahead.
And a Blade Runner show too at the same time. People too busy. Too many things at once.
Well, people needed to get work after after the COVID or well, the lockdowns. But I do think there will be a lot more stuff that is worth exploring in this Alien universe. Yeah, so I think a TV show would be good if it isn't like if a Xenomorph doesn't show up right away. Because as soon as a Xenomorph shows up, that's what the story has to be about. I think
it has to be an action film, at that point.
And I think it would do good to flesh out that universe more. Like, I don't know. I think it'd be... This just might be me now because of, like, all the David memes. But I think it would be interesting if the TV show was David. And then it's just, like, you know that he has Xenomorphs. And so it's just like they don't have to physically be there, but it's like it could be the threat and like something that shows up. But it's like if it's like a 10-episode thing, and then like Xenomorphs are in like the first like 3 episodes of a 10-series run. I'm like, I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see because it's one of those tricky things. Because when you have an old IP like that, people already know what it's. Yeah, there's expectations, and people already know what they're already going to be looking for the signs for it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like how when we rewatched the first Alien, we were like, "Is this a clue? Is this a clue?"
Yep. So
same thing with watching Prey after watching so many Predator movies.
So, but yeah, in the end, I was. What did I write? Pleasantly surprised.
You were like, "This movie has a purpose."
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow!" A quote or parentheses, sadly parentheses, good review.
Yeah, and so. As I did say, and I do think I was like I didn't want to spoil anything. I was like it does have its issues, mainly with certain characters, but I'm like overall the plot and I do feel like it was an enjoyable movie. Was it? Yeah, I think it had a movie. No, but it was. Still...
I think it had a bit of a pacing issue with it too, because I couldn't tell. But again, it could just be Fox Studios doing its thing. But I couldn't tell what kind of movie it wanted to be.
Yeah,
it definitely had the Joss Whedon flavor, but then it had the kind of the same weirdness as Alien 3.
Yeah, this pretty much once like the intensity started, it never came down, but it never felt like the intensity was super high either.
Yeah, it felt like it if given a chance, it could have made a really good case of why like body horror should be a slow burn as a movie, because like the Ripley reveal, the birth scene with the alien, the baby itself, but then instead I'm sure Fox was like, yeah, but you need to like have guns and like have action scenes.
Well, so another thing where I think Fox ruined a really interesting take on body horror is that Fantastic Four movie that came out, I think 10 years ago. The original script for that was supposed to be this body horror stuff, and you can kind of see it in the first half because the guy who's Mr. Fantastic like can't control his, like, because he stretches, and so like he needs contraptions to keep his, like, when they find him, to keep his body in a human state because he can't control the like stretchiness of his limbs. And but then like they did that, Fox did it, and then when they showed it in front of a test audience, like I don't know what producers, they were like, this is a Fantastic Four, and he's like, I told you that's not what I'm writing. And so I would like to see the original script, because like the second half was like had to be rewritten,
the formula. Yeah,
so I don't know, it's like, it seems like anything body horror that Fox gets its hands on, like, no.
Give me the IP. I just want the IP.
Yeah, I just want that money.
Yes, but
it's late. So
this is the final episode where we're talking about the movies in detail. So next episode on Halloween, we'll be going through the list and trying to make a final conclusive list between the two of us of our rankings of all of them together. And if you feel like you missed out on any previous episodes, just feel free to step a few back, and you should be able to find whichever one talk in detail if you end up not agreeing with our list next week. But Payne, to close it out, give people another hint about our movies after we finish the bracket episode.
Oh shoot, I wasn't. Water.
There you go, people. Lots of teeth.
I thought
and
that
water.
was. I thought this was gonna be next week. So I
No.
wasn't
I
thinking
think it'd be funny. So then next week we'll start the episode and be like, for anyone that didn't listen to the whole episode, you missed clue number 2.
Oh, and then we can give clue number 3 and then the answer at the end of the episode.
It all works out.
It's like, oh man, those like crown play sheets they hand out at restaurants for kids? That's what we're doing. Here you guys go. You gotta go through this maze. Honestly, if anyone gets this, please go outside.
I was gonna cheer for them, but I'm also really tired.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep. Bye-bye.